Hi, good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are. This is Sucheta, and welcome to episode 3 of Travel Talk with Sucheta. Hi, Ravi. Looks like you are online already. Um, Thank you for being here. And today we are talking about traveling for Instagram and travel photography. So, pardon me, my throat is a little bad with all the different traveling I've been doing last 3 weeks. I was in New Orleans this past weekend. The week before, I was in Austria. And the week before, I was in Puerto Rico. So, finally, I'm here in Atlanta now. And the whirlwind has died down for 2 weeks. I'm going to be home before I move on to South Africa end of this month. So the body is taking a little bit of a hit. Well, I'm really excited to share with you some information about travel photography and obviously things about building your social media presence, taking pictures of your trips, and then sharing it with the world. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is don't die taking a selfie. Um, Very brainless, yes, but people do die, and I'm going to tell you specific examples about how that is possible. The other thing is, haven't you scrolled through Instagram and Facebook and seen these countless pictures that look so unreal? Or sometimes you look at them and like, wow, I actually do that? Yeah, Ravi, definitely laugh out loud on that. I posted some pictures on my Facebook page, which I gathered from Instagram just yesterday. And there's this girl who's wearing a silk chiffon style gown, a dress, and she's standing in Antarctica. Well, let me tell you, Antarctica, even in the most warmest weather this time of the year, is still going to be freezing. And if I pack for a trip to Antarctica, which is going to be a 2 or 3 week cruise, I'm definitely not taking any silk gowns. I will be dressed in layers and layers of clothing. And if I get out there in the snow, you bet I will have head to toe covered. I'm not going to be wearing a gown. So that is so unreal. I saw another photo of a lady jumping in Bali, and she was standing between the two pillars of a temple, and there was a perfect round moon behind her. Now, either that's been photoshopped or she's been trying to jump there for hours because you cannot get that shot just like that, especially if you're traveling by, yeah, you're definitely inspired by Yash Chopra films, I guess. That's true because, you're traveling with your whole crew of a Bollywood filmmaker, and then you have very good editing to go behind it. I saw a photo of a lady in Bagan in Myanmar, and she's climbed up to this temple and she's wearing this beautiful long skirt. And I was in Bagan a couple of years ago, and climbing is not easy. They are very steep slopes made 3,000 years ago. So if you're going to be doing that climb, you better be wearing very good sneakers and tights or running shorts or something that's very comfortable and sporty. If you wear a skirt and climb up those steps, that's going to be very detrimental if you fall down. And then I saw a photo of a lady in front of the Taj Mahal in a beautiful gown again, and there were no people behind her. If you are in India, there's hardly any time of the day, any place in India where you can find a spot with no people behind you, especially in front of the Taj Mahal. So that took some serious photoshopping, guys. It doesn't happen like that. And then there's a lady who's wearing a beautiful bikini and she's holding an elephant who's lying down on the beach in Thailand. Now, either she's crazy because if it's a wild animal, you cannot be holding it, or maybe it's dead. I don't know, she medicated it. And to just happen to be there wearing your beautiful bikini, I don't think this is real. So, what's going on, guys? What's going on Instagram? I don't understand. It's become a very, very fake travel world out there. Nobody looks good, that good all the time, and nobody's happy all the time. I can tell you, I'm traveling a lot and I don't wake up looking great. I don't always wear makeup when I'm going hiking, and I'm never carrying gowns and beautiful dresses in very remote places. I'm dressed as a traveler. And if you're a traveler, you're trying to be comfortable. You are wearing clothes that are easy to walk in. You're wearing walking shoes. You may have put on makeup in the morning, but by the time you got to a photo site, it's washed off. You've sweated it off, or you're walking in the sun and you're tired. Maybe you're jet lagged and you have bags under your eyes. So it's really not cool. It's not going to happen like that, what you're seeing in Instagram. Now, what I have found out is since 2016, the algorithm on Instagram changed. What it started as was a platform where you can share photos in a friendly environment with your friends, with your family members. Most people were posting food photos at the time. And now it's become very competitive social platform where everyone is filtering out their lives to represent a life that does not exist. And it's become full of influencers and a lot of fake accounts. So what you go and see on there is really sometimes even a computer generated profile, which is not even a real person. And you can tell by the kind of pictures they are posting. You're like, these are super adventurous people. How are they hanging by the bridge all the time? So let me talk about how you can be a socially responsible social media person. Now, I represent travel and I want you to follow me on Instagram. I don't have thousands of followers. I post a lot more on Facebook, but my pictures are very candid. They are what you will see yourself doing when you're traveling. So obviously, you're not going to be hanging from a bridge, a cliff, or taking that perfect picture of the moon right behind you like a halo, or wearing a gown in Antarctica. You will actually see me doing things that normal people do. But I also want to give you some tips on what are things to look out for. And when you're taking those photographs, how to be more sensitive around it. Well, thank you for already following me. Yes. So let's talk about animals first. If you're taking photos of animals, with animals, petting wild animals is pretty much illegal in most of the world. And you can put yourself in serious trouble if you're doing that. Now, you do see photos, and I've also seen advertisements for brochures about destinations. I think Priyanka Chopra has one picture, I think, of her petting an elephant in Assam, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, it is illegal because they are wild. Wild animals, especially elephants, are very, very dangerous. They can kill you in an instant. There are actually places you can pet the animals where you're supervised. Now, in Sri Lanka, where I was recently, there is an elephant orphanage where you can go and you can pet one or two elephants under supervision. They do have a lot of elephants that are roaming around. You cannot just go pet them. These have been humanized. They are used to the human touch. So if you do pet them, it will be okay. Secondly, there is a panda orphanage in China. Again, there are wild pandas that have been rescued and brought there. And under supervision, with the handler, you can pet one or two pandas there. I went to a zebra reserve in Nairobi where you could kiss and feed a zebra. There was a giraffe. Again, there are only one or two giraffes that are allowed to come near the people, and you can feed them. In Zanzibar, I went to a giant tortoise preservation, and there also you could pet a giant tortoise and feed them the food that was given to you to feed them. But outside of that, I do not recommend ever touching a wild animal. You will put yourself in serious danger. Again, don't feed them either unless you're supervised and there's a trainer and they're telling you exactly what you can give them. Now, sometimes they will charge you to buy the food. Like in Sri Lanka, it was something like $1 that I could buy fresh pineapples and watermelon and I could feed the elephant. And that's fine. Just don't feed them your own food. Now, riding animals is also not cool, especially elephants. There's been severe poaching done, especially in rural areas where elephants are taken from the natural habitats. They are trained with very, very uncomfortable circumstances, and then they're used for riding to make very little money. So they are not really treated very well, and there's a big movement going around against riding elephants. Horses are still okay, but just try to avoid any kind of entertainment or tourism that centers around wildlife. Um, in Galapagos Islands, now this is a place in Ecuador which is totally cut off from the mainland. It's 600 miles away from mainland Ecuador, and all the islands are left as it is with all their wildlife and natural surroundings. And they only allow a limited number of tourists to come to the islands every day. I think it's 100 people at a time. So you have to get special permission to get there. But you will be surrounded by wildlife. There are giant land tortoises, iguanas, sea lions, and whales. You'll see penguins, and they're not afraid of you because they have been kept so remotely. So you can walk around with them, you can take photos of them, but again, you should not touch them and you should not feed them. If you see my photograph from the cover of this chat, I'm actually lying down with the sea lion and doing a yoga pose, and that's in the Galapagos. Now, again, I did not touch the sea lion, I just was very quiet and lying there on the beach, waiting for it to come near me so we could get the perfect pose. But other than that, there was nothing in there fabricated. What I've also heard is that when you are, say, on a safari and you take a photo of an endangered animal and you put meta tags and geotags on it, poachers are using those photographs to go back and find those endangered animals. So think about that consequence and how you're making a difference in the life of the animals that you're photographing. So that's with the animals. Now let's talk about religious sites because I know I love to go to visit temples and monasteries, churches, historic places whenever I travel to. And one thing I always do is read up on the culture, on the etiquette of that destination. And if there's something that I need to know about in terms of photography or dress code or behavior, I definitely be mindful of it. So recently, when I was in Sri Lanka, I found out that to take a photo in a Buddhist temple, you cannot be facing your back towards a Buddha statue, and you can be arrested for it if you did that. Yet you can see on Instagram there are tons of photos of people in Sri Lanka doing just that. They're posing right in front of the Buddha statue behind it. I was in Abu Dhabi last year and I went to the biggest mosque, one of the biggest mosques in the world. And there you always have to have your head covered, men and women. And sure enough, I had to cover my head the entire time I was in the mosque. And that's something you're just respectful of. Taking photos of people while they're praying, just be very mindful of that. It's such a private thing to do when you are in a place of religious significance and people have come there from all over the world sometimes, like at the Great Wall in Jerusalem, and they're praying. Just be mindful when you're taking photos of them. No, it wasn't a burqa that I had to wear in Abu Dhabi. It was just a headscarf. Although they do, yeah, I did wear a burqa. They gave a gown that you can wear to cover yourself. Otherwise, if you're wearing a long dress or a long skirt, it's fine too. The other thing is using drones. So, drone photography has become so popular now, and amazing pictures come out of it. People take photos of themselves on the beach from the top, in photo on the top of Sigiriya mountain in Sri Lanka. And that's all great. Just be careful about getting permissions, especially in religious, political, or UNESCO sites. They don't allow drones, so you have to get special permission before that, before you reach. Maybe you look at it, the website a week to 2 weeks before to get that permission, because once you show up with the drone, they might confiscate it. Next, let's talk about people, because we love to take photos of people who look different from ourselves. Maybe they're dressed in certain costumes that we really like, or they are in their natural environment in the markets. And I love to take photos of little kids too, which is not the easiest thing to do. And you have to be very conscious of that as well. So, first of all, bear in mind people are not museums. They are people just like you. Would you like it if somebody came to your house or maybe walked past your house and took a photo of your house, or you in your nightgown looking out, sipping a cup of coffee, and then posted it on their blog and shared it with thousands of people all over the world? I would not like it. Maybe if they had asked for my permission first, I would approve of it. But if I found out about it later on, I will be really upset. So I'll always ask for permission when you're taking pictures of people. Now, sometimes it can be nonverbal. You can just make eye contact with the person and smile and nod and just say, "Is it okay if I take a photo?" And if they smile back and they're receptive to it, yeah, go ahead. But if they turn their face away, or if they're like, "No, no, no, don't do that," just walk past and don't take that picture. Or even if you did already by mistake, just make sure you delete it and don't share that with the world. Now, more than the photo, have a conversation with the people. When you post a photo of someone, it's so much better to have a story behind it. That this person I met was walking down in a temple, and here's what he had to say about his life or why he had come there. And then you have a story to go with your Instagram picture. And people love to share stories, they love to talk. You can also tell them about yourself and what you're looking to see in that destination. They may give you some ideas for it. So try to have a conversation around it. Now, some of the Muslim countries that I've traveled to, the women are especially protective about sharing their photographs and their images. Like a lot of times, they may be wearing a hijab, a burqa, a scarf. They don't want people to see their faces, or even to see them having the headscarf. So just be really extra caution when you're going to a Muslim country and taking photographs of women. When taking photos of kids, get permission of their parents if they're around. And if you're taking a group picture, generally that's okay. But if you're taking a photo of one specific kid or one specific person, it's definitely better to ask. Uh, a lot of times people say, "What about people who ask me for money once I take their photo? Is it okay to give money, or should I just not take a photo of them?" Now, think about it. In some countries, some of the poor countries, people are actually making a living just by posing for photos. Yeah, believe it or not, this is their primary source of income. And there's nothing wrong with that. So go ahead and give them money if that's a photo that you really, really want. Now, I know there are fishermen in Myanmar who stand on stilts on these sticks and they hang out in the ocean, and they are pretending to catch fish. And they're not actually catching fish, they're just pretending for the pictures because they make for great pictures. This is a very different kind of fishing that's done in Myanmar. And when people take photos, they ask for money. And that's totally fine. Yeah, they're models. And like models charge money for their photos, these people are charging money for their photos too. Just in this case, they are everyday models. They are normal people doing about their work. So totally fine with giving money for photos. And then sometimes you will be approached by tour companies or tribal leaders and saying, well, you can come to my village, you can come to see my tribe, how we live, and it's going to be a $10 charge for you, and we'll show you around. That's totally fine too, as long as you're dealing directly with the tribe and the money is going towards to them rather than a third party tour operator profiting from it. Now, when I was in Kenya, I went to see a Maasai tribe, and there was actually a Maasai tribal leader who took the money from me and he showed me around the tribe. I met some of the men in the village. They did a dance, a Maasai dance. Then I went to their houses to see how they live. Then I danced with the women, and I really enjoyed that experience. I know there's a commercial touristy side to it, but they're making money. I'm getting a chance to see how they live. It's a win-win for everyone. And at that point, we have agreed mutually that I can take their pictures, I can pose with them for pictures, and they are totally comfortable sharing it with me. So if you have any questions up until this point, just put it on the chat on the right side of the screen, and I'll be happy to answer them. Now let's talk about inspiration versus copying photos. Well, all I've seen on social media is that you see the exact same photo posted by different people in with the exact same background. Now, one of the pictures I'm talking about is this train ride in Sri Lanka that it's called Ella. It's a hill station in northern Sri Lanka, and there's a train that goes there, and there's people hanging from the train, like hanging outside the train, and taking a photo of them. Trust me, if you just hashtag Ella, you will see thousands of pictures of people doing that. Now, I don't know if that's considered inspiration. That's more like a copy. Inspiration would be, okay, you're trying to get inspired, get ideas of different venues, of different places to do photos, but copying is generally not a good thing. And then a lot of viewpoints get so much importance that they get overcrowded. And when you're taking a photo like that and it goes viral, sure enough, great for you. If 100 people are taking the exact same photograph of the same place, and future travelers are looking that, okay, I want to go there and take that same photo, it becomes chaotic. Now, think what happened in China. They closed the world's highest and longest glass bottom bridge only after 13 days. 13 days after it opened, because it was so overcrowded that thought the bridge is going to break and people are all going to die. So you don't want that to happen just because of your travel photograph and what you're trying to portray from your travel writings. So think about some of those social and environmental causes and things that you are going to impact from your pictures. Now let's talk about editing. Sure, editing is great if you're changing the colors, you're changing the light of your pictures, it's fine. But don't tell a story that is not true. I have actually seen pictures where there's a photograph of a rock and they've added an elephant, a palm tree, and a person, and things that do not exist into the photo, all with Photoshop, and then telling a story that if you were to go to Sri Lanka and seeing the Sigiriya rock, you will be seeing all these different things over there, which don't exist, not in the same frame at least. So don't edit it so much that it's not even true anymore. Now, I've told you a lot of things about taking photos, being mindful, but keep in mind there are no set rules. So you have to kind of create rules for yourself. You have to be a conscious traveler, a conscious photographer, and just create something that you follow when you go. Just don't be an intruder. Think about travel is for you to learn about another person's culture and how they live. You're not intruding on them. You're capturing a moment, maybe for your personal memories, or you want to share a story about the world. Think about what are you giving when you're taking a photo? What are you leaving behind? What stories are you trying to bring with you? And what do you want the rest of the world to know? Are you showcasing that culture in a positive light, or are you making fun of them? So that's something I want you to think about when you're taking your next photographs. What stories are you telling from your photo? That's very, very important because most people take these pictures and it's of them in a beautiful location, of them in a gown, and they don't have anything to write about it. They don't have a story to tell. So, as a travel writer, as a travel photographer, you want to have that story. And that story needs to be true and real so that when the next traveler is inspired to go to that destination and be there, they are thinking about what story you told them and they can imagine themselves in that place, in that moment. And they're not looking for that fake palm tree that was never there. They're not looking for to pose in the way that you posed in that picture, but they're looking to enjoy that moment. So, do you need a selfie to prove something really happened? With the new smartphones, the selfie sticks, people have gone a little overboard, I feel, that they have to take a selfie with everything and everyone, and they miss out on the small things to enjoy. You know what the moments, the every moment that you're looking around, you're meeting people, you kind of miss out if you just focus on taking selfies. And then you're creating this false image, false life that doesn't exist. Because, yeah, I travel a lot, but I'm gone for a trip for 1 week. That's great. During the day, I'm taking these wonderful photos, but I'm working 12 hours a day. And then when I come home for 3 weeks, I'm recovering from the trip. I'm sleeping a lot. I'm writing, catching up on stories, editing. So there's a lot of work that goes behind being a travel writer and a travel influencer. It's not just all fun and having the perfect life all of the time. According to Nat Geo, in 2015, a 24-year-old Australian student lost her footing and fell to her death while trying to recreate the iconic shot at Trolltunga. It's in Norway. And you'll see so many pictures of people in Trolltunga. There's this narrow bridge, kind of a cliff. People go to take this perfect shot, which obviously everybody has seen on Instagram, so they want to go do it themselves. And this girl died, tried to do that. In 2014, a Polish couple crossed the safety barrier at Cabo in Portugal to capture a selfie and tumbled off the cliff's bridge. Now, these stories happen all the time, and you don't want to be one of those people, and you don't want to leave that kind of image for other young people, other travelers, that they should risk their lives to take that perfect picture. So, you have a duty against those people as well. Now, you see people on Instagram that have hundreds and thousands of followers, millions of followers, and you're thinking, how can I get there? Now, Instagrammers are influencers. They're not all travel writers and photographers. They have very strong interpersonal skills. They're spending a lot of time interacting with other Instagrammers and cross posting, communicating. So it's just not about taking a photo and posting it. They're actually spending a lot of time doing other things and promoting it. They have very good photography skills, no doubt, but they also have very good editing skills. So it's not just about taking the perfect picture, it's about taking an okay picture, but then making it look perfect with all of your editing skills. They also stay up to date on digital and social trends. So you have to look for those hashtags, what's trending, how Instagram has changing its algorithms and following that. And if you want to be one of those people, that's great. You will get paid to post on Instagram, to be an influencer, to maybe go on some trips as well. But you will be spending a lot more time than you think they do, or the more time than you think you want to. You'll get a lot of followers, but how much will you get paid? At the end of the day, your hourly rate is not going to be as good as you think it is. So if you want to be a photographer, I'd say do it for your own reason, sharing your own story, being true to the culture and the place, influencing the destination, encouraging people to come there, but in a more meaningful way and a more sustainable way. That's all I have for today. Do you have any questions? Feel free to post it on the chat. This video is also going to be posted on YouTube, so you can leave your questions there. You can always message me on Facebook and on Twitter, on Instagram. My handle is Sucheta Raval. And if you feel like, come back next Wednesday, same time, same place. December 19th, we are going to be talking about food related travel. Now, as you know, I'm a food expert, more of a chef, also a food writer, and I love to eat. You have already seen a lot of pictures of me eating food in different places. So next week, I'm going to tell you about how to find the most authentic food when you travel to a destination. So join me for Travel Talk with Sucheta next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube Live. Take care and see you then. Bye bye.